During the early years of World War II, scientists and military leaders became increasingly concerned about the possibility of a new and incredibly powerful weapon. This weapon was based on the science of nuclear energy, a force that had only recently been discovered. In 1939, a group of scientists warned the United States government that Nazi Germany might be attempting to develop an atomic bomb. Among those raising the alarm was Albert Einstein, who signed a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt urging immediate action. The fear was simple but terrifying. If Germany developed an atomic weapon first, it could change the entire course of the war and give the Nazis an unstoppable advantage. This warning led the United States to begin one of the most secret and ambitious scientific programs in history. The project would bring together some of the greatest scientific minds of the time to develop a weapon unlike anything the world had ever seen. In response to the growing threat, the United States government officially launched a secret program known as the Manhattan Project in 1942. The goal of the project was clear: to build an atomic bomb before Nazi Germany. The project was one of the largest scientific efforts ever undertaken. It involved thousands of scientists, engineers, and workers across multiple secret locations in the United States. One of the main research centers was located at Los Alamos, New Mexico, where scientists worked on designing and assembling the atomic bomb. The project was led by J. Robert Oppenheimer, a brilliant physicist who became known as the father of the atomic bomb. Under his leadership, the team worked day and night, pushing the limits of science and engineering. The scale of the project was massive, and its secrecy was strictly enforced. Many workers did not even know what they were building. Creating an atomic bomb was one of the most difficult scientific challenges ever attempted. The weapon relied on the process of nuclear fission, where atoms are split to release enormous amounts of energy. Scientists working on the Manhattan Project had to figure out how to control and use this reaction to create a powerful explosion. Two different types of atomic bombs were developed during the project. One used uranium, while the other used plutonium. The process of producing these materials required massive industrial facilities, including secret plants built in places like Oak Ridge and Hanford. The scientists faced constant challenges, from technical difficulties to safety concerns. Every step of the process required precision and careful planning. Despite the complexity, the team continued working under intense pressure, knowing that the outcome of the war could depend on their success. By mid-1945, the scientists working on the Manhattan Project were finally ready to test their creation. After years of research, design, and construction, the world's first atomic bomb was prepared for detonation. The test was given the code name Trinity. It took place in the desert of New Mexico on July 16, 1945. Scientists and military officials gathered at a safe distance, unsure of what exactly would happen when the bomb exploded. Some feared the explosion might be far more powerful than expected, while others worried it might fail completely. At exactly 5:29 a.m., the bomb was detonated. A blinding flash of light filled the sky, followed by an enormous explosion that created a massive mushroom cloud rising high into the atmosphere. The power of the blast was unlike anything ever seen before. In that moment, the world entered the atomic age. After the successful Trinity Test, the United States faced a difficult decision. The war in Europe had already ended, but Japan was still fighting in the Pacific. American military planners believed that invading Japan would result in massive casualties on both sides. To avoid a long and deadly invasion, US leaders considered using the atomic bomb to force Japan to surrender. President Harry S. Truman approved the use of the new weapon. The goal was to end the war quickly and prevent further loss of life. The decision remains one of the most controversial in history. While some believed it was necessary to end the war, others argued that the use of such a powerful weapon would cause unimaginable destruction. Despite these concerns, preparations began for the first atomic strike against Japan. On August 6, 1945, the United States dropped the first atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. The bomb, known as Little Boy, was carried by a B-29 bomber called the Enola Gay. At 8:15 a.m., the bomb was released over the city. Seconds later, a massive explosion destroyed much of Hiroshima. A blinding flash of light was followed by an intense heat wave and a powerful shock wave that leveled buildings across the city. Thousands of people were killed instantly and many more were injured. Fires spread rapidly, turning large areas of the city into ruins. The scale of destruction shocked the world. It was the first time an atomic weapon had been used in war. Despite the devastation, Japan did not immediately surrender. On August 9, 1945, a second bomb, known as Fat Man, was dropped on the city of Nagasaki. The bomb was even more powerful than the one used on Hiroshima. The explosion caused massive destruction across the city. Buildings were destroyed, fires spread rapidly, and thousands of people were killed instantly. The impact of the second atomic bombing made it clear that Japan could not continue the war against such devastating weapons. The combined effect of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, along with the Soviet Union's entry into the war against Japan, placed enormous pressure on Japanese leaders. Following the atomic bombings and the rapid advance of Allied forces, Japan faced a difficult decision. Continuing the war would likely result in total destruction, while surrender would mean accepting defeat. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender in a historic radio broadcast. For the first time, the Japanese people heard their emperor's voice. In his message, Hirohito explained that Japan must accept the terms of surrender to avoid further suffering and destruction. The official surrender was signed on September 2, 1945, aboard the American battleship USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. This moment marked the end of World War II. After years of global conflict, the war had finally come to an end. The use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki marked the beginning of a new era in human history. The world had entered the atomic age, where nuclear weapons would become some of the most powerful and dangerous tools ever created. The success of the Manhattan Project showed how science and technology could dramatically change the nature of warfare. In the years that followed, nuclear weapons would become a central part of global military strategy, leading to a period of tension known as the Cold War. The events of 1945 raised important questions about the use of such powerful weapons and their impact on humanity. Today, the story of the Manhattan Project remains one of the most significant and controversial chapters in World War II history. It is a reminder of both the incredible achievements of science and the serious responsibility that comes with such power.